Hello and welcome to Books of Blood. My name is John, and it is Sunday, April 4th. It is Easter Sunday. It's about 7 o'clock, 7:30 in the evening. My family and I, we just got done eating a fairly large Easter dinner. We had ham, potatoes, deviled eggs. I had like 4 slices of pie, I think, or 3 slices of pie, lemon meringue, kiwi, and cheesecake, Anyway, that was my Easter. That's what I did for Easter. Besides sleep, I did sleep. I've got to work tonight. Anyway, I am doing my April 2021 reading wrap up right now. So in the month of April, I read a total of 29 books. Now that seems like a lot. Just like last month, I read 30 books, and that seemed like a lot also. But you have to remember that a lot of these books were from one long series, which had the one from March had like 12 volumes. The one from this month, the Living Among Bigfoot series by Tom Lyons, was 20 volumes. Now, each of these volumes is anywhere from 80 to 100 pages. And what I would do is that if I got finished reading one book, I would just go ahead and load them onto my Kindle and read the volumes until I got to read something else or was reading something else. Anyway, so 20 of the books were the Living Among Bigfoot series. And basically what this is a guy named Tom Lyons and his experience with Sasquatch or with Bigfoot. I have said many times before that I do believe in Bigfoot. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not ashamed of that, okay? But I did have a little bit of difficulty believing some of the things that he wrote about in this series, all right? I'm not saying the man is a liar, but I don't know. I had trouble believing it, all right? And not because it had anything to do with the Sasquatch. It was just other situations that he seemed to find himself in, all right? So that was that. That was 20 of the books knocked out right there. It was the Living Among Bigfoot series. All right. And I also had some that I had to read in exchange for review. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that as far as my reading things in exchange for review. I'll tell you a little more about that at the end of the video. Anyway, the first book I read for review, and this was from Silver Shamrock Publishing. It's by Tim Meyer. And this is Dead Daughters. And it's about a guy and his wife and their kid, and one day he gets in the mail a picture of of a little girl, looks exactly like his daughter, and she's dead in a pool of blood. The only thing is the little girl his daughter is upstairs in her room. And this leads this dad and the mom and everything down this big rabbit hole about who the little girl in the picture is, and this whole big murder conspiracy. And there's a huge twist there's a big twist near the end of the book. I don't want to spoil too much of it. I did a review of it, and I do have the links to the books that I reviewed in the description. So just check out my review, and you'll get a little better idea of what the book is about. But anyway, that's one of the books I read, is Dead Daughters by Tim Meyer. All right, next book. Now, I didn't have to review this book. But I did. To be honest with you, I even hate the fact that I even read this book. I am, of course, talking about Dead Inside. This book was, to me, written mainly just to see how far the author would go or could go as far as grossing out the reader. I mean, there's no discernible plot in this book. I've got a review for it. You can click on the review, watch the review. But yeah, I don't even know if I want to call it disturbing. It's just violence for the sake of violence, gore for the sake of gore. Don't get me wrong, I love gore. I watch gory movies. I love movies like Inside, Frontiers, Martyrs, the remake of The Hills Have Eyes, and other, I love gore, okay? But there's got to be a story behind the gore in order for me to enjoy it also. This, to me, had no story. I gave it I believe I gave this a half a star. And the only reason I give it a half a star is because it does at least have a pretty doggone cool cover, okay? Anyway, that's Dead Inside. All right, and next up, another one reviewed is Sour, and this is by Tony Evans. Now, Tony has mentioned to me that he's going to do a sequel to this book as well as a prequel, all right? And this is about these two guys that one of them has his son, because of something he did, he has his son basically taken away from him or killed by this witch that lives up in the Appalachian Mountains. So him and his friend have to find this witch, capture this witch, and make her reverse whatever it is she did to this kid. This is a fun story. I'm not giving a really great synopsis of it, but it is a fun little witch story. It is one of those where the witch is not this beautiful woman. Instead, she is a crone. She is a hag. She is butt ugly, okay? And she is as evil as the day is long, all right? So, yeah, that is Sour by Tony Evans. Another one I've got a review for, and it's going to be in the description. All right. And let's see, I did some graphic novels, too. In fact, you know what? I'm going to stack on my graphic novels real quick. These all come from the DC Black Label logo or insignia or whatever, and these are from Joe Hill. This is the Hill House Comics line. This first one is written by M.R. Carey, who of course wrote The Girl with All the Gifts, Someone Like Me, and Winterfell. Oh my God, Fellside. All right, yeah, Winterfell. That's Game of Thrones, you know. Anyway, this is called The Dollhouse Family. And it's about this little girl who then becomes an older woman or whatever, who can send herself into this dollhouse world. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. Let me read the thing. On Alice's 6th birthday, she got the gift she didn't know she always wanted. A big, beautiful 19th century dollhouse, complete with a family of antique dolls. In no time at all, the dollhouse isn't just Alice's favorite toy, it's her whole world. And soon young Alice learns she can magically enter the house to visit a new group of friends. Straight out of a heartwarming children's novel, The Dollhouse Family. But in the real world, her family life is much darker, and deep within the dollhouse's twisting halls, the Black Room waits with an offer to Alice. The house can fix all this, the room says. All she has to do is say the words. Anyway, that's The Dollhouse Family. All right, next up, and this one's written by Joe Hill with artwork by Leo Max, and this is Basketful of Heads, and it is exactly what it says it is. You have this, let me go ahead and just read it here. June Branch is in trouble. She's trapped on Brody Island with nowhere to run. Her boyfriend Liam has been kidnapped, and 4 bloodthirsty escaped convicts will stop at nothing to find her. All poor June has to defend herself with is a strange Viking axe with the terrifying power to decapitate a person and leave their heads still talking. If she's going to save Liam and herself, June will have to keep a cool head, or even a whole basket full of them. This was a lot of fun. I believe I gave it 3, maybe 4 stars on Goodreads, but overall, this was actually a pretty fun story. Had quite the homage to Jaws in it, with Brody Island and a few other little tidbits of homage to the movie and to Jaws. I'm really tongue-tied today. I'm sorry. I'm just rambling. But anyway, I'll give this 3 stars. It's Joe Hill. All right, and Basketful of Heads. Sorry about that. Last but not least, as far as graphic novels, this is also by Joe Hill. This one is called Plunge, and this one pays a lot of homage to movies like John Carpenter's The Thing, maybe a little bit of Deep Rising, a little bit of, trying to think, maybe a little bit of Leviathan, and something like that. Anyway, but it's about this, I'll read the synopsis for you. In 1983, a state-of-the-art drilling ship, the Derleth, vanished near the Arctic Circle. Decades later, it has begun sending a distress call. Tracing the signal to a remote atoll in the Bering Strait, the Rococo Oil Company hires the Carpenter brothers and their salvage crew to investigate the ghost ship. Joined by a marine biologist and an oil executive, the brothers set out on a grim mission to learn what caused the disappearance and recovered the bodies of the crew, only to find that the dearest men aren't dead, even if they're also not quite alive anymore. So yeah, that is Plunge. I believe I gave this 4 stars on Goodreads. I should be telling you the ratings I gave these books. I don't remember them because I usually write it down, and I did do that this time. All right, the last book that I did. Oh yeah, I did do well. I will post that in the description also. I do have one more that I did after this one. Anyway, this was sent to me by the author H.D. Kirkland III, and this is called Drop. And this is a very hard book to describe. It's about these guys that they go off into the woods. It's 3 guys and 2 girls. They go off into the woods and to drop acid, to get high. And the whole book reads like one long acid trip. Basically, take... let me think. Trying to think of a movie or something that has like a big acid trip or something like that, and I can't think of right now. But basically, take this acid trip and combine it with something like The Exorcist or maybe the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and you've got Drop. Literally, when I was reading this, I literally thought about trying a hit of acid to see how it would affect me as far as reading this book. Because the book itself, it does. The authors told me, he said that he wrote like that because he wanted us to get into the head of the characters and feel their high and the experience they're going through. So yeah, that is Drop. I do have a review of it, and I left it in the description. So you can click on that and watch it if you want to. Got 2 more books here. The next one is one that I buddy read with Brad Proctor. I'm not even sure Brad's even finished with it. We agreed that we would read 3 chapters a day, 4 days a week. So that's what I did. And he wrote me and said, "Hey, I am really behind on this." He said, "If you're ready to finish it, go ahead." And he said, "If you want to do a review, go ahead and knock out the review." So I did. This is the 13th Koyote. I will leave a review link to my review in the description. And basically, the best way to describe this without going too much into detail about the plot is werewolves on horseback. You have these outlaw lycanthropic, these outlaws that is what I said they are. They are werewolves on horseback. This is a bloody, gory, fun-filled novel. It is book number 8 of the Splatter Western series. I freaking love this book. I believe this book is probably the best in the series so far, and that's saying a lot because for a long time the Magpie Coffin had my vote for the best. I think this one is the best in the series right now. All right, and it's also the thickest at about 400, maybe 500 pages. But yeah, it just flies by. If I had just been reading this book without doing the buddy read thing, I'd have flown through this book like nothing. All right, so that is the 13th Koyote. Last but not least, I finished this one on March 31st, but I didn't mark it on. I actually didn't mark it on my Goodreads that I finished it until April 1st, but I did finish this March 31st, so I went back in and edited that to let them know, hey, this is when I actually finished it. This is book 1 of the Patience of a Dead Man trilogy. And this is The Patience of a Dead Man. And it's about this guy, Tim. He's gone through a divorce. And what he does is he fixes up houses and flips them for a living. It's back in the 70s. But he gets them ready for people to live in. Just the same as nowadays when people do the thing called flipping houses or whatever. Anyway, he buys this house. He's going to fix it up. He's going to sell it. The only thing is the house is inhabited by 3 ghost. One of them is this woman in black, and it's not the woman in black. It is just a woman wearing black with flies buzzing all around her, and you can smell rot and decay on her. She is the villain of the story. She is one nasty, mean, vicious ghost. All right. Then there's the ghost of a little boy, and the little boy always seems to be running away from the lady with the flies. And then you have an unseen ghost who is the ghost of a Civil War soldier who was killed in a training exercise even before he even went to war. And he's basically the good guy of the story, the good ghost of the story, all right? So this guy and his girlfriend living in the house have to figure out how to get rid of this woman and get her out of their lives, because if they don't, they're just going to be miserable. Anyway, I think I gave this a 5-star read. I really enjoyed this. Awesome ghost story. And the second one, I'm going to have to get the second one pretty soon. It's called Dead Woman Scorned. And then the third one is called Anger is an Acid. All right. So anyway, that is The Patience of a Dead Man. I said I gave that 5 stars. Also gave the 13th Koyote 5 stars also. Okay, that being said, that is my wrap up for the month of March of 2021. So if you notice when I talk about some of these books, I will let you know that I got them in exchange for an honest review. And Silver Shamrock Publishing has been the main ones that have been sending me books to read and review. I wrote them yesterday and told them that they don't have to do that anymore. The main reason being is because doing the whole thing of reading the books and having to review them because they're sent to you, it got to me to be too much of a chore. It got to where I wasn't enjoying reading as much, and I didn't feel like I was going to be able to catch up on any of the books that I actually, that I set for myself that I wanted to read. I've got a whole bookshelf right over here of paperback books that I have yet to crack open. Now, some of them I have read, but because I'm doing the whole thing with the books in exchange for honest review and having to do that every month, I've kind of neglected those books. I basically want to start back to where I can read books and I can review books on my own terms. I don't have to have a time limit. There's no deadline. If I don't want to review it, I don't review it. If I want to review it, I'll review it. And I think in the long run, this is going to help my peace of mind. In the long run, all right? And I'm repeating myself. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, that is my March 2021 reading wrap-up. I'm going to post this on Tuesday. I do have a video coming out on Monday, which is a review of the movie Wrong Turn, the remake. And then I'll post this on Tuesday. So until then, the weekend is almost over. The work week is coming up. Stay safe out there, and you guys have a great evening. You guys have a great evening. Thank you. Bye-bye.